You're listening to Glow On with Charla Story
and Jennifer Wilson. We're not just photographers. We're your trusty guides in the world of photography, business, and a bit of life wisdom. Every week, we'll be lighting up your feed with practical tips, inspiring stories, and a sprinkle of humor just to keep you smiling.
We've captured luxurious weddings, mentored talented students at Develop Academy, and navigated the ups and downs of the photography world to bring you insights and strategies that work. Whether you're looking to sharpen your skills, boost your business, or just hang out with two friends who get it, you're in the right place.
So grab your favorite beverage, get comfy,
and let's dive into another episode of Glow On. We are so excited to have you here with us at Glowcella. We've had a lot of fun getting to know you as we prepared for this, and we know that what you're going to talk about today is something that everyone needs on a regular basis, and we can't wait to hear it through the lens of your perspective with
Wonderful.
How long it is and how long you've been doing this. And so it's just such an inspiration. I can't wait.
Well, I'm happy to share this with you. And I have to say, I have so many ideas and so many things that I want to say. I'm not sure an hour's enough. I'm going to do my best to hit all the things, and also, keep me on topic if I start going too far one direction.
We got it.
Do you want me to start, or do you guys want to start with a question? How would you like to go? Let's start. So I think the most important thing I want to say, I don't know the range of everyone that's watching, where they are in their career, but what I've learned really in hindsight, which is so interesting, because when you look back on things, I find they often become clearer. What I've learned after many, many years of shooting is that we actually really all have a vision and a point of view. And I think I remember as a younger photographer and throughout my career really struggling with that concept, like, what's my style? What do I do? What do I want to do? And I think the truth is it's something that we have innately in us, right? So I don't think you actually need to find a style. You need to discover your own voice, right? Mm-hmm. And that can come in really simple ways. It doesn't have to be complicated, connected to photography. Like, I think we all have visceral responses when we like something, right? When you hear a certain song, or you eat a certain food, or you watch a movie or see an image and you have a vibe, a feeling. It's learning how to recognize that within your own work, right? And I think that that's the first step, right? And then from there, it's can you name it? Can you describe it? Do you know what it is that you are being drawn to, or what your personal vision is? And honestly, all of us artists, we interact and overlap in many ways. It's not like you have to reimagine something so very different. I think it's allowing yourself to be free in the beginning, like shoot with what I like to say, abandon. Don't limit yourself. Don't decide what you are. Shoot sort of from your heart. And learn your camera, of course. It's not about technical today, but you do need to learn like your camera, sidebar. And then I think that your style and your vision start to reveal itself. I mean, this series right here, this is a recent shoot. This is the model who was the face of my course. And I literally spent, I shot 1,000 photos of this moment. And so for me, even now, my vision is kind of exploring a moment, exploring a pose, exploring something tangible and visual, because although I know I'm drawn to this and I know sort of what I want, I have to find my way through shoot. Mm-hmm. And so I think that kind of leads me into the other part of having a vision. Once you start having a little bit of a career, a little bit of understanding of what you're doing, I don't think this is a part of you that ever stops. Yeah. I think that our voice and our perspective and our vision will change over time. And I would say when I look back at some of my very early work, I can see me in there. I can see, oh yeah, I was like trying to figure out what I'm figuring out now. And I'm still trying to figure it out, right? So there's sort of a visual alliteration. That over and over and over thing that I'm trying to work out somehow through photography, which is my form of expression, right? And I think we're all doing that to some degree. And the truth is, even if you don't think you have a style or a vision, you do. You just haven't gotten intimately connected with that part of yourself. So I think as artists, as makers, we have to do that. So how do you do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's my thought. Yeah, you go. So I started, as many of you know, my real career in weddings, right? Those of you who have peeked into the course know that I started photographing long before that, and I have kind of a crazy diverse past around photography. But my real presence as an artist and a businesswoman was in weddings. And what I did, again, not knowing, like it's easy to talk about stuff in the past, like, oh yeah, I did this. No, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like learning, figuring it out. I would see a moment, see light, see something and respond to it. But also lots and lots and lots of those images were terrible and you will never see them for many reasons, right? So I think that the process of developing comes through making.
Yeah.
So there's sort of like external inspiration and internal inspiration. And what I think external inspiration is connecting in the moment. Like this was a wedding in France. This was like in the middle of my career. Incredible, beautiful, wonderful bride, amazing venue, but lots of time restrictions and challenges that can kind of come with weddings. And this was a moment they were going out back to like join the reception. And I saw them starting to walk and I called her name to look back at me. And I only got maybe a couple frames of this. And I was just like, I felt it, right? Yep. I hoped to God it was exposed right and in focus, right? Just to be clear, there's no confidence in this moment. I just was like, oh my God, right? Yeah. And I think that accessing that part of yourself is really important. And I think that for me, what has really fed that external vision is shooting for the love of shooting, not just for clients.
Yeah.
So I think that if you don't have a love of shooting, something that draws you, just being in the world and you're drawn to light or a moment or your children or whatever, then I think you've got to reiterate some things with yourself and figure out why not. If you're that disconnected from your job or the process of being in business, that you don't love it, you need to find ways to love it, because I think that love carries you through hard times, has you connected to your vision and your photographs in a more meaningful and deeper way. Now, this next image, I feel like you guys might think some of my sequencing is funny, but to me, this is the same image as the one before in some kind of way. It's the feeling. It's like the movement, the light. And I think that when you, again, are looking for inspiration outside of yourself, it doesn't have to be so specific. It's more being open and being receptive and paying attention and then experimenting, right? So the flip side of how do you like find inspiration to have a vision, I guess, or a style, is that's the internal part, not the external part. That is actually, I think, really rooted in hard work, which is sort of not as romantic as like, I got inspired and I shot something. But right. I think that the work that you put in when no one is watching is what takes your work and your presence and your consistency to the next level. And we'll get into consistency a little bit later. So when people, ask me, oh, how do you do it? I'm holding on by a thread any day now. I'm working my butt off all the time. Like, I don't ever feel that sense of I've done it, I've got it, it's enough. Yeah. I think the process of learning and working and like finding your way through your own point of view, and also, are you able to look at your images really mindfully and go, yeah, I'm doing that, or gosh, I need to figure that out more. I need to explore that more. And so for me, this is an ongoing love affair I have with photography. I find the work really rewarding. Like, that is the part that I find it's like in my hands to figure out, right? Absolutely. And I think like, I'm sorry, were you asking something?
No, we were agreeing.
Okay. Oh, okay. I think, and also I just noticed that there are comments going on and like, oh my God, everyone's so nice. It's making me nervous. Thank you. I was going to say that if you like admire someone else's photograph, let's say, take it away from yourself. I think it's important to be able to decipher what you like about an image or a body of work. Like when you see someone else's work and you're like, ooh, yeah. Like, do you like the dress? Do you like the attractiveness of the person in the image? Do you like the venue, or do you actually like the craftsmanship and the photograph? Because those are different things. And I think you can actually go ahead, because I think I put way too many slides in here because I'm an overachiever. Because like a moment like this, right? This was like an incredible, this is a real wedding. By the way, I will try to distinguish what's an actual wedding and what is editorial or models. Incidentally, sidebar, I personally don't love the term real or like, what do you call like a stage shoot? What is it? Inspirational shoot? Right. I don't love that distinction because to me, it's all real, right? All the people are real. And the difference between the approach and a shoot is often a real, like a non-professional model might need a different type of direction, not necessarily more, but different. And a model or a styled shoot needs also a certain kind of attention. So I'm trying to make a real non-professional person look elegant, relaxed, and like, I don't know, has some kind of a vibe, right? And I'm hoping to try to make a model look elegant, relaxed. And my goal is the same. My direction in getting there is different. A model, sometimes you have to help them unpose, if that makes sense. And a person might need a little more of a starting point, or for me, what it often is just, oh my God, hold still. And that was this kind of a moment. So she was getting ready and she's wearing a Chanel dress, like
dreams.
Like I can't, like I don't even know how to comment about that. But, and I think one of the girls was helping her with her shoe, and I encouraged everyone to come around because I felt like that would just be a better moment, right? And then I just said, just do stuff, like just help her. And then the direction for the bride was like, you know, slightly chin up profile, like whatever. I don't remember exactly, but I think this feels to me, without sounding like a bragging person or like rude or whatever, this feels like it could have been a model for right? But it's a bride at her real wedding, right? And then if you go to the next slide, oh wait, I think it's out of order. Hold on, hold the line.
Which one are we looking for?
I think you're missing one. Well, there was a series from this wedding of like 5 photos that I was trying to show. There it is. Cool, good. Technical stuff. So this is also other images from that moment, just because I thought it might be nice for people to see, like, I shoot a lot. That's sort of my love language, is that I really love the act of making, and I work my way through. One thing that I used to do when I first started is I was more sort of documentary can you guys say that? Repertoire approach, in that I would come in and not touch anything, not contribute, and just try to make something pretty. And what I learned over time is that it was okay for me to participate, right? And so, for instance, this was the ballroom that they were going to do the cocktail and dancing in. And the room that they were getting ready in, there was like, I don't even know, like 10 bridesmaids. I don't know. It was like, and it was dark and not and busy. And so I walked in there and I'm like, she has this incredible dress. She's this incredible girl. This is not going to do it. Like in my heart, I'm just getting a little anxious, right? So I like had my assistant stay down there, and I just went and scouted like crazy, like really quick. I ran around, and this room was empty because they hadn't set it yet. And so I first talked to the planner. I said, can I just have her get her dress on up here? And she was like, sure, fine, like go for it. And then I went to the bride. I'm like, is there any chance you'll, and I took an iPhone shot, showed her, I think we should get ready upstairs so you have room and light. So I participate in the process. Not, I just want to make this really clear, not in a bossy way. I'm saying this short because I have a lot to tell you. In a really like suggestive, what if, you can, like, to try to make it better. You can't ever, like, I don't think, go into a bride or a planner or anyone, I need to do this, we need to do this now. That is not the approach. You want allies. You want to collaborate. So I learned over time that I could participate. and make things better. And what I happen to think, and again, everyone's style is different. This is my style. I like a clean, modern, kind of like simple vibe with the focus being on what's right in front of me, not a lot of busyness, right? What I think is that by participating, like the bride, the couple, the client, they expect you to. It's not something they talk about. They're hiring you not just for the photographs, but for your ability to decision make and problem solve. Because what will happen is if they love the photos, you get all the credit, right? They don't remember all the things. But if they don't love the photos, it's your fault.
Absolutely.
So participate when you can. And sometimes you can't, and you just make the best of it. But if you can do something, like this was a really special moment to me because I made this happen when it wasn't. We carried the dress up there. We carried the dress for them. I helped make it easy for them. Okay, so moving on. I think we're skipping photo. Okay, it doesn't matter. I can talk about this. So this is actually another photographer, y'all. I don't know if you know who this is, but I do have a lot of photographer clients, which is one of the best compliments in the world when people who know how to shoot want you to shoot them. It's a little sometimes nerve-wracking because I'm like, ooh, I can't mess up. Like they'll know, but also it's an incredible honor, right? So the first photo was in my studio, and it was just a like portrait boudoir, like whatever, just having fun. And the second photo was at Hybrid last year. I did a conference and a different outfit, but I literally got home and realized like, oh yeah, all I do is shoot the same photo over and over again. Like what is wrong with me? Like these are literally two different locations in two different moments, right? But what I want you guys to maybe pay attention to here, and again, it's very funny to talk about my own work. It's a little weird, but
you're doing great.
it will just sounds like, ugh. But is that I am mindful of body position and flattering curves and angles always, right? However, there is something really consistent and yet different about these images to me, right? And the first one, she's not pregnant. The second one, she is. The hand placement is similar but different. Like, and again, I think that is like a space that I explore a lot in my work. I have a vision, but also there's got to be room for variety, right? So whatever that is. And quite frankly, I have a much bigger variety that I don't share because it's not on brand for like whatever my website. So I explore and work in a lot of different situations and try things all the time. And so I will suggest at any point you are in your career, friggin' love it. Like, don't want to be somewhere else. Like, don't worry about what else is happening. Like, make the most of that person in front of you. Figure out what you're doing. If it works, great. If it doesn't, go back and do it again. Like, the process, the journey is where everything is. There's not a point you want to get to, in my opinion.
So
the vision, what's that?
You said you kind of have like a plan, but also you let things unfold. Do you typically find that you're like, these are 3 things that would be beautiful in this space, and then you just watch the way a woman is moving?
It's less specific than that for me. Sort of. I think like it's, first of all, I'm a woman who likes beautiful things, right? Like I love vintage stores and I love whatever. So like the outfit on the one where she's not pregnant, I don't know how you guys are seeing on the left, is I think she maybe rented or brought the dress, and the pearls, it's like this like kind of thing that's part of my collection that another client had bought and left with me because she was like, I bought this for the shoot, but I'll never use it again, which is a wonderful way to like grow a collection. People are like, ooh, Elizabeth will like this, you know? So I layered it on the dress. And then the second one is a robe. That's one of the Girl in the Series Dream robes. And I have some of those in my collection. I use them all the time. A couple reasons. One, beautiful lace, beautiful like silhouette, but also that layer of lace is both transparent so you can see some of the body, but protective so you're not so exposed. And I think that balance in there that's where I like to live, right? And so what are some of the things? Well, so for instance, lace, okay? I know I have a collection of things that I will, if I'm traveling, bring with me. And if some people come to me, they can like explore my closet. I'm also super into texting ideas if people want to. Also, if they don't want to, no problem. I'm not one way in every moment. But like shooting through something. Okay, remember that shot earlier where the girl had the smoke in front of her, right?
Yeah.
This is the same photo to me. I love the obscuring, the light, whatever, and also coming up and thinking about different ways to use fabric and to show a person, right? So I'm pretty sure maybe like my daughter and a friend or assistant was just holding a piece of lace up and I had her come to it. I'll sometimes, like the stands you use for a backdrop, you can clip a piece of fabric or lace to that and then have someone, and I do that all the time. There's ways to like make it seem, different than it looks. And also I'm very interested in whoever I'm photographing looking calm as possible. So throughout this, I'm often asking people to breathe, and I wouldn't require her to necessarily hold it because I want her to be as relaxed. This is from an editorial shoot, by the way. This is for a magazine. And then the other one that we shot was a real person, real baby. So you can go on, let's see what else there is. And do you have questions? Or are we still rolling?
No, this is gorgeous. It's going.
Amazing. So I think, okay, again, I just want to just reiterate this sense of vision and voice and style, right? That you have it in you. You just have to hone it and have a relationship with it. And if you are, I'll get some people ask me, oh, I don't have clients that either have the same style, or I'm not getting the kind of jobs that really are aligned with what I hope for. And I just think maybe you have to shift your thinking. I think that when you have someone whose style isn't aligned with yours, you guys, we froze.
We didn't freeze.
Am I frozen?
No.
Okay, well, I'm frozen for me. So, okay, good times.
Oh, weird.
Really bad shot too, by the way. Anyhow, so if I'm photographing someone who has a different style than my job, my purpose is to capture them how they want to be the best of my ability. It's not to judge their style or whatever, right? And when you have a better relationship and dynamic with a person, then you might be able to suggest or incorporate things that you think might work, right? So I think there's just a balance in there between, oh my God, my daughter's trying to get in. A balance, I locked everyone out because they were going to forget I was doing a class. A balance between your vision and also honoring and responding where your client is. Does that make sense? Okay. So then again, there's nothing purposeful here. I just always put fabric on people's face or shoot through fabric. I don't know why. I love it, right? That's just something, right? And I'm okay with exploring it.
So when, like, my favorite sculpture is Winged Victory, and the fact that you're able to make stone look like see-through, wet fabric is like the most incredible of all time. And
I agree.
That's kind of like the vibe that I get every time I see you do this. I'm like, it's so beautiful, and it's exactly.
Thank you.
So I look forward to the ways that you use.
Well, I feel like my goal, if I could like articulate it, is to capture what something might feel like, and it like an energy, something about like what it is to be a woman. And honestly, I often explore space that is more about longing and heartbreak, right? Like that feeling of like, and it's just beautiful to me. I think what is beautiful about it is the intensity of the emotion when you're in that space, whether you're a new mother or you're getting married or you're like crying or whatever. It's that pure emotion that is not about, I don't know, like a proper portrait. I do proper portraits. I love those. But what gives me the most joy is this space of like, I mean, whoever introduced me was very sweet, said something about my work being poetic. I think it's like a visual poem. Yeah. And I just love that.
I love that you said that, because what you just said about your perspective through your work is something that I have felt for years. So to hear that is very much true to you as an artist. It's just so edifying to how well you've been able to communicate that through your image.
Thank you. And I think, to just bring it back to like the people that are listening is think about not that you want to be like me or anyone else, but like think about what moves you when you look at someone's work, and then what might you like respond to, think about, connect with, that you could share, right? And you may not like these like see-through fabric things, or maybe you do, but like what might that feel like to you if you were communicating, right? Like I think that we have room for all our voices, and not only room, I think it's really, really important that all our voices are in this like discussion and visual world that we're in, right? And I think it's easy with the lists that are out there, or the person got this job, or to like always be feeling bad. I would just like to say I am left off all the lists now, all of them. I don't know why. I'm older, whatever.
You don't,
I feel happier and more clear about my work now, which is really weird, right? So if anyone ever feels that kind of feeling that we all feel, which I guess we all feel, right?
Yeah.
Is you just have to reconnect to why you want to make images, right? Because if you have more purpose in your work, then you can connect to having a vision, even when you're maybe not getting the bookings you want, or even when you feel like you're not being understood or appreciated. That if you have a soulful connection to why you're doing, not that it's all great and you figured it out, but that you want to figure it out, that is what will pull you through when times are hard, which they often are when you're self-employed.
Can I ask, so we're talking about the art of vision, and you have, like, when I look at your work, what it makes me think of, I think is so fun, because it takes me on a journey through all of my favorite art museums that I've gone to. And I feel like your work is the most artful work that I've ever experienced. And I would love to know, where do you get your inspiration?
Oh, I mean, I was kind of trying to touch on that a little bit earlier, but like for me, it's two things. The external inspiration is anything kind of what you're describing, like the art world, and not just other photographers, but like painters, sculptors, like the most amazing coffee you've had, light coming through a window. Like I'll trip on the light sometimes. Like I took this video the other day of my dog on the couch it was like a shadow of me. Oh, I don't know if anyone follows my stories, but I put some random stuff in my stories sometimes. It was like me, my silhouette with the light coming around us and my dog looking at me, but I was shooting it from my iPhone. It was just like light for no reason. I had other things I needed to be doing, right? Yeah. So I get inspiration in real time, in real life. I love, when I can't sleep, going down Instagram rabbit holes or Pinterest rabbit holes and finding all this incredible, stuff from around the world. Like, oh my God. But then sometimes it hurts my feelings, and then I'll have to go away from that. And then when I'm not just like being like right now, I mean, I wish I could show you my whole studio, but it's kind of messy. Like it's raining, the light's coming in, like hopefully it's good on me, it's a vibe, right? But then really the other part is work. Okay. Yeah. That is how I really, truly kind of access my own creative identity and inspiration. Like I have this experience, and this is going to sound silly, but I swear to God, it's true. When I first get to any shoot, and I'm shooting tomorrow right here where I'm sitting, I don't remember how I do what I do. Like I literally, I have everything ready. I'm very good about preparation. I clean it so no one knows the truth. You know what I mean? And my cameras are ready. Like I'm prepared, but I don't remember how to do it every time. And it's like, honestly, it's to the point now, if I ever feel confident, that'll make me uncomfortable.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Right? Because I don't want to be like overconfident, and that's when I'll mess up. So what happens for me is, again, I don't have my cameras out when people come over. I don't need it to be confrontational, like perform for me. But when I like get them, whatever, in the area I'm hoping to start, which is usually right around here, and I pick on my camera and I look through and I take a few shots, and all of a sudden I see something, I feel something, and it all floods back. And I'm like,
Yes.
oh yeah, I have an opinion about everything, but I don't remember it unless I'm in the moment of acting, of making, of working. And so what I think everyone that is feeling down as we can or uninspired, that is why I say pick up your camera, shoot for yourself, because that act will connect you not just to something inspirational or aspirational outside of yourself, it'll connect you to your own vision. And it's that vision that you need to nurture and trust. It's okay if nobody likes your work.
Yeah.
You don't need to like an image because someone else likes it, right? If somebody likes an image of yours, that doesn't validate it. What validates is you feeling connected to it and sharing. This is something that is meaningful to me or I'm proud of. Right. You are the most important part of the photos you make. Yeah. And your inspiration is really in your hands. I mean, when I really realized that, I found it very empowering. Because if it's not something magical that descends upon us sometimes or not, if it's something I can access through work, I'm willing to work.
Can you tell us a little bit about your why? What is your why?
I mean, that's deep. I would say on a core level, photography saved me. Like on a really profound level, my parents split up when I was young. I was very, I don't know if it was insecure, just very introverted and not sure where I fit in. I mean, as I guess probably the whole human race feels, but it feels really profound when it's happening to you and you're young, right? So I was very uncomfortable in group situations. I don't know, I just didn't know how to be. And I wasn't like, I don't know, it was just weird and awkward and introverted. And by picking up a camera, it gave me a reason to be somewhere. And this happened at 12. And my mom gave me a camera when I was 12, and I would like put makeup on my girlfriends and like tell them where to sit. I was like styling and directing, although like horribly, the first time I picked up a camera. And so my why is really like, it's sort of deeply rooted to this inner feeling of like, I don't know, like peace and expression, and that I feel like the work we make matters in a more profound way than a lot of us think about, because we're busy trying to like get a wedding or get a portrait shoot or get whatever the things we're doing, but we're really like part of people's lives. And I think anybody that is a little older or has kids and has seen them growing up or anything, has seen any passage of time, you realize how meaningful images are. And these images that are kind of mediocre and bad, like are become profound. I mean, like, I had when I was making the course that I made, I felt like I was in therapy with myself, because I never am on camera. I never I'm just not into that at all. I've never been a selfie kind of girl, right? But by looking back over my history of my life and pulling out photos, both that I took and of myself, I had such tenderness for myself. I had such nostalgia for all these things I was and didn't realize. And I was so shy and nervous. I mean, I got a degree of fine art, a BFA in photography, and waitressed because I was too afraid to say in my outside voice I was a photographer, right? Like, so the people that feel like, maybe, I don't know how people see me or feel about me, but like I had a lot of years and a lot of work before anyone ever saw an image and liked it of mine. And so a lot of this work is personal and private for all of us, I think.
And that's, I think, always so nice to hear people that you are truly inspired by say, because when you love someone's work and their voice, you're like, man, I want that. And it's so easy to forget that it took them a long time to get there. And it takes time. And that's okay. That's good, because it's not about the destination. As we all know, it's about the journey, right? But it's one of those things that's like, when you fall in love with your work, you also, like you said, I'm not on the list anymore, and I love my work more. As soon as you make a decision and you love something, then nothing else really matters.
I think that's really true. And I think it's like, just to clarify, you don't have to love your work. Like, you can still be, I mean, I'm still struggling. Even when I was putting these together for you, I'm like, that's not good enough. Like, I'm the harshest critic on myself. because that's part of my process to try to improve and learn. And I think that if you ever feel like you're at a place where you know everything, that's where you need to really like check yourself, because learning and being confused and refiguring and reinventing yourself and reconnecting to what your vision is like the process. And I think that the journey part that you're referring to is more true for us as image makers than I think many other professions, because it is such a profoundly personal and yet collaborative type of business. If you're photographing people, you need them to participate. So much of my process is about connecting in a really real and soulful way with who I'm photographing. And that has nothing to do with my camera or my focus or my exposure. And I think like when you talk about the why, I think as I'm older now, I'm kind of away from, the part of me that was a crazy introvert. Like I am now, but I learned how to, survive in the wild. My why is now like truly soulfully connecting with women and showing them who they are. I mean, and that's why like my evolution of my job, right? Like, so I, as a business, became a wedding photographer, right? And then really I've always had sort of a little bit of diversification in my business, and now more purposefully. And I think we should keep going, because I think I get to that. I don't remember where, but eventually. So what I wanted to say is, so the balance between consistency, right? So I want you to look at a photo and know that it's mine, right? This goes, remain curious. This is what I'm talking about learning. I am this person. I'm very curious. I'm very interested in how to be better, how to communicate, how to connect. And that keeps me engaged and wanting to continue, right? Yeah. And then I think it's like, I don't know, like when you say like, if you cook dinner, right? You have to cook dinner every night, or at least go get food. Like you have to eat every day. So that's what photography is like for me, is that it is not a place that I've gotten to. It's something that I experience and want to continue. And I really do think as my career has evolved from really weddings to families and maternity and really boudoir, I've really like explored that quite a bit. And really, I don't even think boudoir is about nudity or sexiness. It's about vulnerability and power and beauty, right? And like, I don't know how many women are on here compared to men, but so men just okay. So men learn this, and women, tell me if, and give me an amen if you agree. We are like extraordinary, right? And yet so hard on ourselves.
Yes.
Like I don't know a single woman, and there probably are, so I don't want to overgeneralize, that actually fully knows how extraordinary she is. That we all somehow hedge. For me, I'm like, oh, my hair looks a little, but like, this is what I look, this is what I am, right? And when I was younger, when I look back at the photos of me when I was there, I was like, oh my God, she was amazing. That girl was so like, I don't feel comfortable, right? So I photographed a beautiful array of humans, from well-known to friends to like everything in between. All of them have some bit to varying degrees of not fully knowing how extraordinary they are. So what I feel my purpose is now, that I become more aware of, I feel like it's maybe always been my purpose, but now it's come into focus, pun intended, is not only do I want to continue to show the women, pause on this one, I want to talk about this in a minute, but show the women that I photograph and are in my life, really the beauty I see in them, that I've also really feel very connected to sharing with all the photographers that I can come in contact with, how to do that with their clients and their daughters and their mothers. Because if we can somehow make this like a like wave of like, how do we really, like all those photographers, if we're all showing women in our circle how incredible they are, an angle they didn't know, where they go, wow, that's me. What a, like, I get chills when I think about that. Let's like help each other, support each other. And these two women, which you guys are going to love this. I think Ellen, you know this already because you've been deep in the course. So these are my two best friends, right? This was my wedding. I was actually in the car with my new husband, well, old husband. We've been together for a while, but and the girl in the black dress is my friend that I met in middle school, who, again, I'm going to just quickly go through this. Some of you won't know the story, but who I was in the fire with, that I had to escape. So she's the girl I escaped the fire with. She's the first pregnancy photos I ever did, and she's the first wedding I ever photographed. Okay, this is my friend. Like, I didn't know I was starting a career. I just like to take photographs. The other girl on the right is my best friend that I made in art school when I went to the San Francisco Art Institute to like really be a photographer. And I was crazy introverted, shy. Like, I was at art school, I was the tamest, like, regular girl of them all. And I didn't talk to anybody because like that seemed really intense. And so a couple months in, we had a class together, and Leah, so this is Polly and Leah. Leah came up to me and was just super nice. And like nice when, you know, everyone was cool and not necessarily super nice. And we became fast friends, roommates, like, and also I have tattoos because of her, like literally, right? So these are the women of my life, and I photographed them both many, many times. They're both in my personal life. They're in my course. They're on my website. Like, I sneak my people in everywhere. And what I want you guys to take from this is that you are actually doing this in your life right now. You just don't know it. You will look back, and the women, the friends, the mothers, the whatever that you photograph out of love will become part of your vision and your body of work. And we don't always know it in the moment, what's happening. And interesting, the other little funny thing about this photo, I think one has a film camera and one has a digital, which I just think is kind of great. Like, just, you know, because of the debate about that. So I think that, that the people in our lives, the women in our lives,
Yes.
the women that are our clients, all we have to do is just take the time to connect and show them what we see, and know how to direct a little bit to make it better. Know how to put them in, you know, there are definitely technical aspects of this. It's not all woo-woo, although I love the woo-woo. There is real practical stuff too, but that's not really the point of this, right? Vision is about purpose, I think. Because vision is how you see, how you get inspired, how you work, and what your purpose is. And I find that comes more into focus for me more and more and more over time. Okay, this again is this is a real wedding. So real people. You can kind of go through these a little bit, I think. Let's see. And hang on, let me see where you are. Go to the next one. Okay, this is a model that was for, I think it was a cover shoot for a magazine. And also it's someone who's become a good friend of mine. Like, that's the other thing. These are real people, real connections. Like, I met her and photographed her at this shoot, but really adored her, and she's a dear friend now. And I think that what I want you to see here again is like my process of getting a portrait is I shoot a lot. That's how I do it. I don't feel confident. I don't know how to say it. I don't feel done. I work my way around it. This is representative of maybe like another 100 I did of this moment, right? Like, and
in a way, it feels like you're finding like how to fall in love with whoever's in front of.
Absolutely. And it is really like a little relationship, right? It's like, and even these are like, I see different things in all of them. Some of them might be like barely perceptible changes, but I feel them, right? A lot of it for me is breathe, right? And exhale and look, and like not needing to like give me a certain type of look or vibe. And honestly, to even get to this where there's eye contact, I start looking down usually almost 100% of the time, because having someone look at you requires a lot of energy and a lot of grace and a lot of comfort that, you know, a lot of people don't have right off the bat. So, you know, taking your time with it is, again, that's my love language. This is what I want to do. I want to work. I want to have this dynamic. And also, I will say, part of what my process is I'm always verbalizing something positive. And it comes very natural for me. Everyone out here who's a photographer knows that it's so complicated, right? You're doing math, you don't know, you're like, all these things are happening. But I think it's important that you don't allow that process and that stress of trying to figure it out be the burden or responsibility of the person you're photographing. So how do you do that? Because it's very hard in the beginning when you're trying to figure it out. Well, first of all, I think it's an internal thing that you need to keep internal. But the more you work in private and the more you know your camera and the more comfortable you are with your vision, then it won't be quite as hard to balance those two spaces, right? So for me, I'm like, oh my God, hold that, beautiful. Oh God, yes, breathe, hold it, beautiful. I'm like very interactive in my back and forth, because I think if you get too quiet, sometimes people take that as something's not right, even though you're just like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? I didn't set that right. What am I doing? You know, like the other thing, this is a big secret. And by the way, something we haven't been talking about this, Ellen, I don't know, comment on this if you don't mind, but I embedded the most amazing playlist in my course because I believe it's really important to have sound and music on a shoot. I play music all the time when I shoot. Now, you guys might not like my taste. It's a little probably different than you would imagine, but it helps fill the silence. Okay. It like helps when there's that, you're trying to do math and figure out how to be a photographer and there's music on, there's sort of a rhythm in the space and a vibe. Whereas if it's totally silent, I find that a little stressful. Yes. So for you guys, think about that. What might you do to fill the space if you are trying to create some space to figure out what you're doing without stressing your subject out? Music for me is like everything.
Music can be a game changer.
Yeah.
Game changer.
Speaking of music, so you're playing music because you're in studio and you have control over the entire atmosphere. It's almost like you are a fine dining experience. Like you get to have a higher experience in this bubble that you have control over everything. Can you talk to us a little bit? So you actually still shoot weddings, right?
I do. Not very many, but I do.
But you specialize in photographing women and boudoir. Yes. Can you talk to us about your love for being in studio? Because a lot of people, I love studio work. I started in studio and it's probably my favorite ultimately. But a lot of people get very afraid to play with studio work because they feel like, well, it's just a background. So can you talk?
Okay, well, let me just demystify that. First of all, thank you. Again, you guys are making me feel really good. Second of all, it's actually not true. Like I shoot all over and my studio is a natural light studio, which I've been, very blessed at this point in my career to build after another fire, y'all. It wasn't just like, everything like tragedy. And then I become some kind of a phoenix, even though I didn't mean to, you know what I mean? Like just keep on going. So for much of my work, again, okay, let me start over. You can create a vibe of studio light. And again, to be clear, this is natural light we're talking about. Studio shooting with lights is a whole other topic that I'm just not an expert on, so I can't really speak to that, but also a beautiful option if you are in a place that doesn't have a lot of light. But for me, like I would say 10, 15 years, there was a spot in my son's room where the light was good and I didn't let him have anything on the wall. So I had a little mini portrait studio. I mean, like, what is a portrait studio? Like a window and a chair. You can do this anywhere. I do it at weddings. There's a huge diversity here of things that were shot in my studio and not. And the reason I have a studio now is because, I had a fire, I built it, and I had this dream of like kind of field of dreams, if you want. Like if I build it, they will come. And I just had this like idea that if I had a space where I could do this, that I would be able to invite people to me and do more interesting work, which is true, but it's probably about half my work. I still travel and I still do weddings and I still go to people's houses all the time. So I really believe strongly in creating a sense of atmosphere wherever you are. Now I'm able to do that in my studio because it's part of my home. So I light incense and play music and have food and like really invite people over like guests or family or friends, if someone's going to come into your space, imagine their experience as a person, not just a client. Right? Now, it looks a little different if I'm meeting somebody on location or if I'm going to their home. I'm not coming in with incense and like my playlist unless they know my music and they've requested it, which, you know, can happen. But no, I might put my bags near the door, ask if I'm supposed to take my shoes off, not have my cameras out, walk through the house with them, pick spots, go into their closet, look at their underwear. Like I'm part of the, I mean, for real, like
I love it.
I'm like, we're girlfriends. Let's like do girlfriend stuff. Right.
Yeah.
And then if I'm on location, maybe I'm doing something like bringing some fruit or water or, you know, just being mindful of what someone's experienced as a person, not a client. Right. Yeah. So I think just to empower everyone, you guys can do that anywhere all the time. It is only recently that I've had a studio. And I think what is unique about studio work is that it's just a little simpler, right? It's light, it's composition, it's negative space. And I think that's where it gets really important to have connection with your subject and to have some starting points. Oh, go back one minute. I want to show you one thing on this photo. So what I think is important that I tried to mention earlier that I want to really drive home is, so as photographers and artists and businesswomen, or businessmen, excuse me, I don't want to exclude anybody, that you need to really, really have consistency. So how do you find consistency and create consistency in your images? First, you have to identify it. Then you have to see, are you able to name it? And then are you able to recreate it at will? And what sort of things would go into that? And yet, at the same time, you have to diversify. If you only do one thing, you're not really going to stay relevant, right? And I think, you know, as I realize, I mean, I have a lot of gray hair, I'm older, and you guys still want to talk to me. You know, who knew, right? I think that part of that is really nurturing my love of photography, of learning, and also how to lean into the work, not as just like a one note thing. So I think like when people are, I don't know, let's say you're a wedding photographer or you're a portrait photographer or you're a baby, like whatever you want to label yourself as, I just say strip that away. I think that that's very limiting. You can certainly have a certain type of work that is your specialty or you're more drawn to. I would describe myself, I'm a photographer. And I think that having some diversification, both in your body of work and your ability to shoot different things, makes you a lot more valuable and sustainable over time. Like some of you may not know, I actually do a lot of interior shooting. I have a couple of designers that I'm close with that I do incredible interior work. I don't really show it because I'm not like, it's not, you know, this kind of stuff is what really moves me, but I'm trying to stay in business and I'm trying to stay relevant. Right. And I also, oh, go ahead.
It might change the topic. So I feel like maybe I should wait.
Go ahead. Why not? No, whatever.
So you said, diversification, stay relevant, and you shoot lots of things. I agree. And I think, you know, shooting interiors can make you better at photographing people because 100%. It makes you see things differently with an artful eye.
Absolutely. Everything
comes back to making you even better at what you love most. But you also said, like, who knew we would want to talk to you? Your hair, your hair is gorgeous.
That's weird.
Love it. How many people pay so much money to dye their hair that color?
It's true.
But that being said,
well, I do streak it to make the gray, like, you know.
Well, we love it.
Thank you.
I feel like there are a lot of women out there that are photographers and they are incredible at their craft and they've been doing it for a very long time. But at some point they stop sharing so much of themselves and their faces. And
what do you mean? Like, you mean sharing like this, like our face? Well, dude, I made a whole career out of not showing my face. That's not my favorite. So I don't know if I'm the best person to comment on this.
Okay.
I'll try.
Well, so women kind of just stop putting themselves out there in a way that when you're looking to be like, I want to have a really long and prosperous career, who can I look to as an example who's done that? They tend to shy away. So can you talk a little bit about, did you find somebody like, we have Annie Leibovitz, we have other photographers, but in the like fine art industry, it's a thing. Like it's hard to find people that you're like, hell yeah, she did it and I can do it. And this is inspiring and encouraging.
I have so many things to say right now, but first, before I do, I don't want to forget. So the girl in the picture before is also the same girl here, just so you can see like the, yeah, I know it's a little thing. And also before I'm going to answer this, because I really want to get into this, but I also just think diversification means trying different things, making mistakes, making bad photos. Who cares? It's the process. And then if you find something, you're like, oh, and you find it. Okay, cool. All right. So then, so are you saying like, are there people that I admire like that have done the thing we're talking about?
So two things. I'm wondering if you had that same experience. Like, did you feel that way? Did you look for, Radistina just called it a role model. Maybe you're not aware, but you're a hell of a role model.
Absolutely.
In this industry.
Well, thank you. But like, oh, if you guys really knew what a crazy, like hot mess I am. Well, okay. So
your career has been long.
Longevity.
And you've been an inspiration the entire way.
Thank God, because I don't think I can do anything else, right? So there's a bit of desperation behind that, like for sure. But no, okay, so everything we've talked about so far is actually, I think, without being too corny, is really why, right? Like actually devoted, caring about, putting myself into the work always, even when I'm not getting paid, especially when I'm not getting paid, even during COVID, okay? Like I always have personal projects going on, so that for me personally, there's no other option. Like I mean, for sure I would do whatever if I had to feed my family, but my connection to making work is really profound, right? And I do think it's important sometimes. Maybe you have to have a second job or do something else. Well, you guys are going too fast. There's so many things. Okay, so the other thing is twofold. One, there are people that I deeply admire as artists and photographers, and not to like keep talking about my course because that's so stupid, but I actually did in the beginning, I did a history of boudoir and who I'm inspired to. That's like a half an hour showing the artists and why, and explaining like people that are just not in the wedding world, not in the, like some people, you know, some people you won't. And truly to this day, like completely baffle me. Like I'll look at some of their work and just feel like, what, I don't even know why I do this. Like really inspiring, from like Sarah Moon to Deborah Turberville to Sally Mann to Tim Walker to Paolo Reversi. Like there's incredible artists in there. So you don't necessarily have to just look in your, like on your Instagram feed to find what you're looking for. There are incredibly talented, viable, wonderful artists and photographers all over. Incidentally, Annie Leibovitz, who's also incredible, went to the same art school I did, which I learned not too long ago. And kind of interesting. Wow. No, I kind of wish I could meet her and just say we went to school. Anyhow,
you're one separation away.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, she's amazing. Anyhow, and then the other thing is, like what I have really been more aware of now, and again, the process of trying to teach in a more meaningful way has helped me connect to this, is that there's so many things that I wish I could tell my younger self. There's so much time I wasted. And so anyone like right now that is like, oh, I want to do this, I'm trying, just do it. Just do bad photos, try, doesn't work out, try again. Like really the only difference between success and not success is quitting and not continuing to try. And so, I mean, for me, like maybe some of y'all know, like I didn't shoot my first wedding until like, I don't even know, 7 to 10 years after I graduated from art school. And I had a 1-month-old child. So my mother came as my assistant. I nursed, took photographs, and handed my daughter to my mother. Like, so if you are shooting and not nursing, you're ahead of me. I waited a long time to say with my outside voice, this is what I am, and not, you know, feel like I was a fraud or imposter. So, I do think that there's people out there, and I think that, again, just don't limit yourself, right? Don't box yourself in, I'm this kind of photographer, I only do this. I think having the ability to have some diversity, not just in the quality and the type of work you make, but in the type of clients that you're open to. I worked for a newspaper for 4 years. I was a true photojournalist. What else did I do that's working? Oh my God, I just remember, I worked in one of those like studios where you go in and it's like a glamour studio. And
yes.
Oh my God, for like 2 months. It was torture. But I did it and I learned, don't want to do this. I mean, that's the other thing. Sometimes we are so focused on learning what we want to do that we forget to explore things to learn what we don't want to do and learn where our boundaries
It's
are.
like dating.
And
You got to know, you have
it's
to
absolutely
to not settle, to know what you don't want so that you really know what you want.
Right.
absolutely. And I also think there's, other things we can get into, but like, how are your clients, when you do have clients, experiencing you? And I think that that is something to be mindful of from the first inquiry till long after they're not your clients anymore. So for me, that means most of my interaction is not around selling myself. It's more about receiving and responding. And I mean, of course, I'll share information as I need it, but I don't have like a pitch, right? I have things I know. Like I want to make sure this is balanced. And yes, I know what I'm doing. And yes, I am happy to make money. And I will share with you all my, this is what I do and how I do it and what it costs. But I find that that's just a small detail of running a business, especially this kind of business. And then the other thing is, how are you handling your post-production and your interactions when they are no longer like an active client? First of all, I am printing my work. And even when I maybe they don't want or didn't have the budget, I'm not printing everything. I'm printing at least one photo. I'm signing it. I am framing it. I'm treating them like a piece of art. And I am delivering art before I deliver digital files. So I think that patience and that subtle gesture of treating people with that sort of respect about themselves. First of all, women, when they get photos of themselves, no matter how much they like you or your photos, what are they going to do?
Critique.
They're going to zoom in and find all their flaws and be kind of mad at you probably too and hate them. Right. So if you give them a print and you sign it and you show them that they're a work of art, they can't zoom in. Yeah. Now they may not love it. This isn't foolproof, but I think the act of how you're treating people and how you're helping them receive the images you make can really contribute not only to their happiness, but your success and longevity, because nothing is as powerful as people really liking your work and telling all their friends.
Right. Yes.
And then a client comes to you. My favorite kind of client is someone who comes to me and has heard of me from 3 or 4 people where it's almost annoying. Like that feels good. People that I haven't asked to say something nice. You know what I mean? Like really. So you can't pay for that. That's not advertising. That is directly connected to how you are and how you conduct yourself as a person. And again, what I hope that people take from that, it's empowering. That means you have some impact over it. It's not just a career like I have it or don't have it and why didn't I get that job? It's not what jobs do you want to get? Not what jobs did you lose? What jobs were you never considered for? Doesn't matter. How do you treat the ones that you get? And if you can really, really be mindful of that, I think you will have a longevity in your career.
Right. You said photography in a way saved you. And I think that you use, in a way, your love for photography and what you do and your art, and especially now with women, to save women from themselves. I think that's
beautiful.
Really, and you're also showing women who are working very hard at a photography career that they can have success and longevity. So without realizing it, you're helping women feel amazing behind your lens.
Yes.
And you're a role model to women that they can, in fact, have a long, successful, beautiful career and be.
Well, and I think for women, I think this is our time right now.
Agreed.
When I started, the photography world that I was in was very male dominated. And not there's anything wrong with that. I love men and I think their voice is important too. But this is a real time for us to have a voice and have a presence. So I think that should, again, be empowering to like explore what you want to do. And your vision is actually something you have that you need to nurture and also push the boundaries on,
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Mm-hmm. So this is good. So mistakes lead to magic. Go through this real quick at the end. I just want to show. First of all, this is a blurry photo.
Yeah, love it.
It was low light.
And you're shooting film. Natural.
Well, yeah, for most of my career, I was only a film shooter. Over the past year, I've tried digital cameras on and off throughout my career. I really love cameras, I've never been a this or that, even though I'm pretty sure I got put in the film camp because I loved film, but I wasn't trying to talk mess about digital just to like clear the air here. I do actually shoot now. I still have my Contax 645. I still have a camera my mom gave me when I was little, an old Nikon. I have Polaroids. I'm like, whatever. I want all the cameras. And I've been shooting the GFX 100S like crazy. I love it. Never said that about a digital camera. And I'm like really fluidly using that along with my film work. And in my course, I use the Fuji a lot so people can see the camera when I'm shooting. I thought it was like more teachable than like, wait for the film and I'll tell you how that came out, you know. Doesn't matter what camera you have, y'all. Shoot whatever camera you have, just know it really well. Also, wait, that double exposure, that was a mistake. Something went wrong in this is a film shot. I love it. I couldn't do that if I wanted to, right? So don't be afraid of messing up. Don't be afraid, mess up all the time. This is actually an actress who I years ago met because our kids were both mixed and we just like kind of connected. I photographed her family for something and we stayed friends. And then she came to my studio and we just had a magical day. And this is Machen Amik. Did anyone older that ever watched Twin Peaks?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the beautiful girl, the waitress I can't remember her name right now. The waitress in the cafe.
Yes, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. I love her. She's also on Riverdale. Okay, this is stills from my course, which I really purposefully, like I just put out some posing videos and posing guides, and the posing guides that have like my prompts and tips are all the photos I made during the filmmaking so people could see the images I actually got compared to the way it looks filming.
Yeah.
I was filming it. But then, yeah, so this is my muse, my current muse. And yeah, embrace your evolution. Just because you call yourself a wedding photographer or portrait photographer and you are now reimagining what you are, cool. Like there's no rules. I think that's the most beautiful part of being self-employed, an entrepreneur and an artist is you can define and reinvent yourself and do things like, why did I have all the girls cover their faces? I don't know. I love it. I don't know. At the time, this was a long time ago. This was like kind of like random, but I was like, I think I love obscuring the face of women because it allows the viewer to participate in the image more. It becomes less about the particular woman and what they look like, and it becomes more experiential. Like you can be connected in the photo in a way, if that makes sense.
You know, I don't know when you did this, but I feel like if it was seen anywhere, I remember being asked to do this a few times, and maybe it was your.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, y'all. I come up, and is everyone doing milk baths now and upside down portraits? Like
probably.
Also, look, I shoot other things.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, you should go through. These are like all random. Like I just tried to show like I'm not just a one-hit wonder. People that smile, I do that sometimes.
I love that because I love photos that are more pensive personally.
Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing. You can like my photos or not like my photos or whatever. You can like my photos and your photos can be totally different. And those can both exist in the same space.
Yeah.
You know, and this again, okay, so this is interesting. So this is Sasha Peterse. She's do you guys watch Pretty Little Liars? Anybody? So when she became my client, I'm a little older than her, so I didn't really know that show, but my girls watched it, so they were very excited. They were going, So our first photo shoot was this is so wild, y'all. I'm not going to. So this was a boudoir shoot that I did for her before her wedding, and she's coming to my house tomorrow to do a shoot right here where I'm sitting.
Oh, nice. Good. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Longevity is about beautiful connections with people that honor your work and want to come back to you, right? Yeah. And that's not something you sell. That's authentic.
Yes.
That's something, and it's only a handful of my clients. Many clients are one and done. I don't see again. I don't mean to like imply, but some are really become part of my life and want to have those photos of their lives over and over again. And so I think it's like, I don't know. I think it's more than photos. It's about human connection. And that's Sasha with her son. Actually, we shot like 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah. So it's an evolution that we all go through together. And honestly, as I get older, I'm evolving now too. Like I want to actually make films now. I'm going to say this right now. I want to make a short film, like a real film, and submit it to like, I don't know, the Cannes Film Festival, something like that. And I know, right? Like anyone want to invest? I need a budget. But when I was in art school, one of the interesting feedback I got all the time, because I always did the shooting, like subtle differences and things. Probably some of you get sick of it. Like it's just so many similar, right? My professors, 2 of them said, you should really take filmmaking. You shoot like a filmmaker. And I was like, no, I'm a photographer. No. This is like 30 some years ago. And now I'm like, oh yeah, film's amazing. Like, right. And I want to appreciate this. So I wrote this out for this thing, Enjoy the Journey. And I made, like I was doing something and it kind of tweaked and I was like, oh, this is better than reading it out perfectly, because this is what a journey is like. It's indecipherable while you're doing it. And then you can look back and go, oh yeah, that led to that, led to that, led to that. So you are all in the middle of your own journey, and you don't fully know the impact of it until you get a little farther away from it, and then you'll be able to trace your line, just like I am. Everyone has got the same thing. Just have to be mindful of it, I think.
Absolutely.
And nurture it. Nurture your vision.
Yes.
Everyone has been listening so intently as you have poured yourself out.
And we asked the questions. Wow.
Let's do questions. I'm down. I'm as long as I'm not going over time for y'all and messing up your thing.
No, we've been asking the questions as we've been going along.
Oh, okay, good.
To make the most of our time. But I mean, what a journey this has been for us as well. Just, yeah, I mean, whenever, I don't know if you ever had any weird incidences with family not really understanding how my mother-in-law was like, tell me about this thing you're doing. And right after you said you'd come on, I need you to understand how excited we are to have you here. I told her, I was like, my mother-in-law doesn't know much about my world in general, but I was like, listen, there are 2 women everyone knows in this industry. There's Annie Leibovitz. And
stop it.
And she was like, I don't know who Annie Leibovitz is. And I was like, listen, I'm not surprised, you know? But that's what I said to her, and she went and looked. So I need you to understand how much.
So nice. Thank you.
Being here, we truly, Charlo was not lying. You are someone who is worthy of being a role model, and you have been for both of us for a very long time.
Thank you guys so much.
I know we only just met, but know that I've been grateful for you for many years. And I know
you guys
very elusive because I tried to meet you.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, introvert is like powerful in me. You know what I mean? Like it's only now that I'm kind of like, I mean, I don't know. Y'all judge me. Go ahead. You know.
No, and listen.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying the whole world. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, never.
Yeah, like, I mean, whatever. I'm sure I'm doing something wrong. That's whatever.
We are so glad that photography saved you, and that you are using all of that to pour love back into the world. I think that we see ourselves in your art. And so even though you're photographing the beauty in others who are not maybe the viewer, it's also well.
That's beautiful, y'all.
Yeah, we're just so glad you were here. And I mean, forgive us for the changing white balance. We do know how to not be
Smurfs.
You know, things happen. It's fine. You're like
word.
Flawless.
So does anyone else, like, ask the ladies, like, anyone have a question? I will answer anything, or also I can take my pretty outfit off and
I noticed someone asked when it is that you deliver these art prints to your clients, when on the journey, how long that
you know, it depends on how busy I am. Like, I actually have as soon as I'm done here, I have to go to the lab because I've got somebody who's been waiting on stuff that I'm kind of like a little bit stressed about. Usually about 2 weeks. I'm saying on the long version, maybe 4 weeks. And it depends. Like, I have a beautiful Epson printer in my studio that I can print my own work when I can't connect with the lab. Yeah. And then if I'm actually on top of it, which is cool, doesn't always happen. Like, I love Indie Print Co. And then I have a lab in my studio, and I'll, like, depending on what I'm doing, I print all over the place. But if you can afford to have a printer in your house, that's always a good thing, because then if you mess up and don't get your edit to the lab in time, or the shipment's messed up, you can actually protect yourself. So worth the investment, I think. But yeah, it varies. And again, sometimes people want things rushed. That's always different, but 2 to 4 weeks is my sweet spot.
Ooh, I have a question. If you were to describe the way you want your work to feel to photographers, to us, like when we look at their work, not to clients, what would that be?
I want my photographs to feel somewhere between what it feels like to be in love and heartbroken. Just like that really pure emotion.
Intense.
Achieved.
The in-between, like I'm really curious about in-between spaces, both visually and emotionally. So like when someone's getting dressed or undressed, that's what I love about boudoir. It's the in-between, this important moment that you're supposed to, like a wedding or a, you know, a family portrait, the space in between. And then same thing with the emotions, right? Like maybe even there's a quietness to it, like the peacefulness of just being. And again, it's not always one thing, right? Like I think that there's really different notes that I am really drawn to. And I think maybe the humanity of it, like the humanity of seeing another woman and appreciating her point of view, her beauty, her whatever, and also not diminishing our own when we admire others, right? Like I hope if anyone does admire my work, that they don't allow it to diminish their own. That my work matters because your work matters.
Yes.
And that just like, you know, my playlist doesn't have one artist on it, right? It has a bunch.
Right.
So we need all of our different, you know, types of flavor to actually have a really beautiful texture of the photography community. It's not, it never should be one note.
Yeah.
Well, that made me emotional. Got me.
You're working.
Good. See, that's what I want to do in my photos. I want to elicit an emotional response. That's my answer. I changed my answer to that.
Well, you do. So
it's comforting and inspiring at the same time. And it's
oh my God, I'm reading these comments now, you guys. I'm so glad I couldn't read when I was talking before. Thank you all. Oh my God, Jennifer, Katrina, Radistina. Am I saying that right?
She's real rad.
Radistina. I know you just. Oh, you guys. You know what? I literally yesterday, and I'm going to say this for anyone who bought the course but hasn't checked their email. I just created a private Facebook group for all of us to start sharing, because a lot of people are DMing me questions and I'm a little bit slow because I've got like kids and life and stuff and clients that I'm ignoring. But so I've created this beautiful space where we can start sharing photos and we can ask questions publicly. I'm going to start coming in. Never done this before, so I don't really know what the rhythm is yet. I'm going to figure it out. But if you guys have check your email, because there's a link to join. I think already 100 people are in there and we're starting to like do stuff. So it's cool. I've never done anything like this.
Well, I'll be there.
I feel like learning as you get older is so exciting. Like I feel that feeling of like being young. So I'm like, oh my God, how do I make a Facebook group? You know what I mean?
I can't wait. I'll be in there because I got your course and I can't wait to start it after Glow.
Yeah. Charlotte, you got to come in. Wait, have you done any of it yet?
No.
Oh my God, don't answer publicly. This is too much.
No, I had to do. I've had no time.
Okay,
I'll call you and I'll tell you all of the things because I.
Okay, yeah. DM me later when like nobody's listening.
Well, we hope to make it out to see you sometime and maybe work our way.
I hope so.
So be on the lookout.
I hope so.
Thank you so much.
I love that. All right, y'all. Thank you so much, Camilla, everyone that's commented. I truly appreciate it. It's like I'm usually just by myself, either meeting deadlines or avoiding deadlines, depending. And so it feels so good. Honestly, it feels so good to have community, because for most of us, a lot of our job is a little bit lonely or at least alone. So I appreciate y'all so much.
100%. That's why we do what we do. And we're so glad that you're welcome with us anytime.
Amazing, y'all. All right, guys, well, have a beautiful day. And everybody that is out there wanting to, I don't know, figure out what their vision is, you actually already have it. So just take care of yourself. And it will all reveal itself, and then you can nurture it. And that's really what my secret is. My big secret. You already have what you need.
We love it.
Hey photographers, feeling overwhelmed doing it all on your own? That's why we created In the Glow, an exclusive community where you can thrive together. Join us to build meaningful relationships in a safe, fun, and honest environment. Access top-of-the-line education every week, share your dreams, wins, and setbacks with supportive peers, and track your goals with mentors eager to see you succeed. Doors to In the Glow open again at the end of August. Head to developacademy.com and search In the Glow to join the waitlist now. Don't miss this chance to be a part of this transformative community.